action figures are great!
Welcome to the newest edition of TNInews with your host, JC. Hey everybody, what's up? JC here, and welcome to a special Friday edition of the TNI News live stream. Mainly because on Monday I did the pre-recorded video. Next week we'll be back to the regular schedule of Monday and Wednesday with the live streams, and then Friday with the pre-recorded. But San Diego threw things kind of out of whack. Now for today, I thought our primary focus would be Marvel Legends. However, of course, I'm sure if you guys have any questions on anything else, we can probably talk about that a little bit. Like Collectorverse here in the house asking about the price on the Snake Lair. So the crowdsourcing Mattel item for Masters of the Universe Origins that will be going up on the Mattel Creations website on August 12th. And to answer your question, no, I don't have a specific price. However, I will tell you that Mattel put up a questionnaire, a poll the other day. And one of the questions they asked is if you would be willing to spend $300 on this particular item. So I don't know if that's some foreshadowing of that's what the cost is going to be. That's kind of my takeaway from it, since I don't know why else they would be asking you if you would be willing to spend that much money on it. Also seems to be like maybe they've got some doubts that they're going to be able to get that, have a successful crowdfund for that item. I don't know. It was definitely kind of weird, but nothing definitive as far as price has been given out by Mattel. But again, just based on that survey that they launched this week, I'm thinking probably in that $300 neighborhood. So, and again, the campaign will be launching on August 12th. So, I'm sure they will put out the official information no later than the 12th, if not sooner. And they also released a few official images, just for those of you curious. We got a good look at this at San Diego, but here are the official images. And like I say, like you click here, this gives you some more details about it, the dimensions, some of the features. But then it says, overall, how excited are you for the Snake Lair crowdfund? I cannot wait. Not sure yet. I want to hear more. Not a fan. So if I was being completely honest, like I have no interest in backing this. In fact, out of the, this was a fan vote thing, and I wanted the attack track to win the fan vote. So, I mean, it's not that this isn't cool looking. It's just, to me, I'm just not a big enough Origins fan to do it. I already voted once on this thing, so I'm not going to vote again. Next question is, if the set were priced at $300, excluding shipping and handling, would you back this project based on what you know today? Yes, no, not sure. So again, I don't know if that's foreshadowing of how much they're looking to charge for this, but that would be my takeaway from that question. And then, you've got some fill in the blanks. Which features of the set are you most excited about? Which features are you least excited about? So, and I mean, just from the feedback I've been hearing from people when they debuted it during San Diego, I've been seeing, actually quite a few mixed reactions on this one. So it doesn't look entirely like the fan art that they showed during the fan vote. And then it is, basically this isn't like a reissue of a toy that we'd gotten before. This is kind of their own new creation. So it's not going to have the nostalgia factor of, like a Eternia playset or something like that. So I don't know, again, if any of that is causing Mattel to have concern, though honestly, it seems like maybe they waited a little late. But I don't know. And I'm just looking behind me and I forgot to turn on my video game. So no video games on tonight or today for today's live stream. But anyway, long answer short, I'm going to guess around $300 Collectorverse on the Snake Lair. Jim Ruby, Ruby, hoping for an Avengers wave to go with Giant Man before the. I don't know if we'll get an Avengers wave per se. Likely, we should be getting that Secret Wars wave, which probably will have some Avengers characters in it, but I don't know if we're going to get another Avengers themed wave this year. Early next year, maybe, but I think that's why they put the Wasp and regular sized Giant Man out in that 2-pack. Otherwise, I think they would have put that if they were going to do an Avengers theme wave. I would figure they would have put those in that wave. Mr. Oma, I'm looking forward to the new Venom pool. It's going to be at least $50. Probably it's a Target store exclusive, though it is a reissue, but that generally doesn't seem to affect things. But since you bring that up, I just wanted to point out I have put together, we've got a stream of pre orders coming up for the month of August for Marvel Legends. You know, they laid a lot of information on us last week. It was 1 week from today that they had that Hasbro panel at San Diego. So I've thrown together basically everything that they announced during that panel and the dates that they've given for pre-orders. So, like, you know, some of the stuff has already gone up for pre-order. The Deadpool wave went up for pre-order on the 27th. So did those Sentinels that are Pulse exclusives. Those are already sold out. Those sold out very quickly. I would imagine we'll get another opportunity at them at some point, but right now they are listed as sold out on Hasbro Pulse. The Colossus figure went up for pre-order this week, $40. That's sold out on Amazon, but it is still available at Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth. Then we got the surprise announcement this week for the Green Goblin helmet and Pumpkin Bomb. Those are still available at Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, Amazon. Then next week on Monday, we've got Monday the 5th. We've got the Death's Head figure, which was first offered at San Diego, but not a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. A lot of confusion with this because I get a lot of people saying, so are we going to get all the San Diego Comic-Con exclusives going up on Monday? And the answer is no, because the Death's Head isn't actually a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. It was just made available there first. It is a fan channel exclusive and will be available at places like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth. Yes, Hasbro Pulse will carry it. I don't know if Amazon will carry it. You can see from the slide here that Amazon was not listed, but I won't say 100% because sometimes Amazon decides to carry these things even when it isn't publicized that they're going to carry it. So, but definitely Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth should have these. Now, one thing I was noticing on the slide is normally Marvel Legend pre-orders go up at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and on the slide they actually list as going up at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know why so late in the day for that one, but again, Death's Head should be available next week for those of you who didn't go to Comic-Con, which, as I talked about on Wednesday, that's the only exclusive that I ended up getting. So I'm actually going to give you a little better look at this in just a minute. But so yeah, that should be going up on Monday. And then the following week on August 15th is when the Doctor Strange Wong 2-pack, which is an Amazon exclusive, is going to go up for pre-order. So that'll be going up at the standard 1 p.m. Eastern time. Again, that is an Amazon exclusive. So Amazon's the only place that you'll be able to get the Wong Doctor Strange 2-pack. Has that translucent dog, has the alternate Dramu head for Doctor Strange. So, and our first time getting a comic book based Wong in the Marvel Legend line. So that one again is an Amazon exclusive going up on the 15th. Then we've got that Punisher 2-pack with the Bushwhacker. Very nice Punisher figure from what I saw at Comic-Con. And I'm pretty, I always thought Bushwhacker was kind of a cool character. So this is actually a pretty cool 2-pack to me. This is going up on August 22nd. So this will be a fan channel exclusive, meaning Hasbro Pulse, Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth. This one will also be at Amazon. So you will be able to get this one definitely at Amazon. So again, August 22nd, 1 p.m. Eastern time for the Punisher 2-pack. Then we've got the Avengers Infinity War Outriders figure. That is going up on the 29th on a Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, fan channel exclusive and Amazon for that one. Next up, we've got the Crystal and Lockjaw 2-pack. This is an Amazon fan channel exclusive, but they did not give us a date on this one. So I'm going to guess this is going to go up in September. But again, they did not actually give us a pre order date on this one. So I don't know exactly when this one is going to be available. We've got the ROM figure that was announced, ROM the Space Knight, but they gave us absolutely no details on when, how, or where this will be released. So this one might be still farther off, maybe later in the year. I don't know. But ROM the Space Knight. Then we've got the store exclusives. We've got the Target Venom Pool. Did not give us a date on when this is going to be going up for pre-order. As mentioned, I wouldn't be surprised if this cost at least $50. But so that's again Target exclusive, and then Walmart exclusive, the Quicksilver on retro cardback and the green outfit. I'm guessing that will go up during the next Walmart Collector Con event. Again, they didn't give us a specific date, but the next Walmart Collector Con event will likely be in September or October, early October. So I'm thinking that's when that will become available. We also have the Kang with floating chair, which is going to be a Pulse exclusive, possibly going up during PulseCon, which is September 13th. It might go up sooner. I'm not entirely sure, but that one is coming. And then there should be some other figure that is offered during PulseCon that we don't know yet know about, but should be coming. And again, PulseCon is September 13th. And then finally, we have the Dragon Man figure, which will be released exclusively on Pulse with the made to pre order window. You'll have to pre order it during the stated window. We don't know exactly how long that window will be. We don't know when that will start. But if you miss the window, then at least according to what Hasbro told me, you will not get another chance at that figure. And I'm guessing, and it is 100% just a guess, but that they will launch that pre order window during PulseCon. So which again is September 13th. And then finally, Dan Young, just today on Twitter, put out this cryptic message saying, I know we just had San Diego Comic Con, but Marvel Legends is always cooking next week. Now, I don't know if he's talking about the pre-order of the Death's Head or if he's actually suggesting there's going to be another reveal on top of what we saw at Comic-Con. The way it reads, I read it as there's going to be another reveal, kind of like they snuck out the Green Goblin and Pumpkin Bombs this week, that there's going to be some kind of reveal next week that we haven't seen yet. But it's hard to say for sure. Dan's messages can be cryptic, and he could be just talking about the Death's Head pre-order that's going to be happening on Monday. But I'm sure as we go through the weekend, he'll put out more cryptic tweets giving us more details, and we'll have that information on Marvelous News. But that's kind of your rundown of stuff going up for pre-order over the course of August, and probably a few going into September. So a lot of stuff there. And then of course we have PulseCon, where we'll get more reviews, more reveals. That's probably when they will show off the Secret Wars figures. And it's not clear to me whether that Wolverine that they showed at the very last minute at Comic-Con, the brown costume Wolverine, if that's going to be one of the Secret War figures. They obviously put those video game figures around it. He wears the brown costume in the X-Men video game. They just released the Sentinels from the X-Men, or put up for pre-order the Sentinels. But it could, throwing up those video game figure, or those aren't video game figures, those are old figures, but throwing up those figures that also appeared in the video game along with the Sentinel could be a misdirect. Who knows? But we've got that brown costume Wolverine. So I'm wondering if this is actually going to be part of that Secret Wars wave that they're just starting to tease. But I guess only time will tell. So that's kind of your Marvel Legend news roundup from San Diego. Again, a lot of pre-orders coming at you over the course of, we're kind of continuing that theme of one pre-order a week, if not more. But definitely a lot of Marvel Legend stuff. The Watcher says, "I'm hoping to get a new classic 616 Spider-Man that is long overdue. Sooner or later, I'm sure it will come. Whether it's this year, I don't know, but they always throw out a new Spider-Man periodically. He's one of their core characters. So CJ with Action Grip, I think the brown and yellow Wolverine is a Secret Wars. Yeah, I mean that was my very first thought when I saw. I was actually on the plane because I left San Diego that morning, so I didn't get to see this figure in the case myself or talk to anybody about it. I'd already left when they put it out. But my first thought when I saw the pictures was Secret Wars wave. But then they threw it. They deliberately had. I mean, they had to have brought these X-Men figures with them, and you know made it seem like this is a video game figure. So it could be a video game wave, which I like the idea. You may notice that I did something very similar myself behind me there on top of my X-Men video game. I have those same figures and the brown costume Wolverine that we've already gotten before sitting on top, along with the bad guys that appear in the video game. So I was way ahead of Hasbro on that. But again, I wouldn't be surprised. It was a brown costume Wolverine that was originally released in the Secret Wars Mattel line. So, it could go either way. Jeremy, do you think we will see a comic version of Immortus and Rama Tut in the Marvel Legend? I think any character is possible. This line, as long as it keeps going, I think there's not a single character, and we've seen Hasbro willing to do obscure characters. So yes, I certainly think it's possible. Have I heard anything, or do I think we're going to see something like that this year? No, but yes, somewhere down the line, I could certainly see either one of those characters getting made. Mr. Allmine says, "Saw my pre-order." Yeah, I'd seen so many people like ask, like, and it was like I had to go back and pull the slot. Like I was sitting in that panel last Thursday or last Friday actually, and I was taking pictures of every one of the panels that Hasbro or slides of every one of. I was taking pictures of every slide that Hasbro showed in that panel, and I had to go back and pull those images and be like, okay, what exactly is going up for pre-order when? Because it was just, I mean, so much information came at us last week that it's hard to keep it all clear. And I know the whole thing with the desk head's very confusing to people because people are like, well, it's a San Diego Comic Con exclusive, so if it's going up for pre-order on Monday, or all the other Hasbro San Diego Comic Con exclusives going up? And unfortunately, the answer is no, because technically Death Heads is not a San Diego Comic Con exclusive. It is just a first to San Diego Comic Con release, and it is actually a fan channel exclusive. And so it's going up next week. But the other Hasbro stuff, which will see a limited number go up on Hasbro Pulse, and only Hasbro Pulse. Again, the Death Head will be available elsewhere besides Hasbro Pulse, but the other stuff, the Transformers, the GI Joe, and the Star Wars stuff that they sold during San Diego, those will only be available on Hasbro Pulse. So, and they have not given us the date for when those will go up. Again, I'm thinking PulseCon. They'll hold them until PulseCon, which again is September 13th, but I could be wrong. Sometimes in years past, they would do it the very next week. Obviously, they're not doing that because this week is over and they didn't go up. And they have made no announcement, so I'm thinking probably not next week either. But who knows? And who knows how much leeway they'll give us from when they tell us the date and when they actually go up. But right now, I'm thinking PulseCon is when they'll make those other, Once a Man Cobra Commander, the Transformer Orion Pax 2-pack thing, and the Darth Maul with Sith Speeder. I'm thinking will go up during a PulseCon. But I wanted to give you guys a closer look at this. So I pulled some stuff out. So this is my binder of Marvel trading cards that I collected back in the day. So I've had these in this binder since these cards originally came out back in the 90s. And of course, the packaging is based, they did the packaging so it looks like the Marvel card. So I have that card in here. So get the glare. But you can see Death's Head. This binder's kind of heavy because it's pretty thick. But you can see Death's Head. This is the card that the packaging is based on. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I know Ryan Ting is like a huge trading card fan, so I'm sure he played a large role in having the packaging look like this. But I could maybe see, wouldn't mind them doing even on the back, kind of like that. So, and another thing that's kind of cool for people in the UK is apparently they're doing special Marvel Legend trading cards. This is a pretty limited release thing that they're doing, but they announced this yesterday. So the Star Action Figures, which I guess is a UK e-tailer. Sorry, I'm not well versed in my UK e-tailers, but Star Action Figures in partnership with Hasbro UK is doing these trading cards for the Marvel 85th anniversary Marvel Legend figures. So they're made to look like the old trading cards, but they have toy photography using the new figures. And basically, you go to the Star Ace to get them. So they're very limited, but I could see if Hasbro did something like this, like started including cards like that in their figures and stuff, maybe did their packaging like that, that would be kind of a cool subline. But getting back to Death's Head, so obviously for Marvel Legends, we'd already gotten Death's Head 2, which in the comics I always thought was cooler than Death's Head. But I gotta say, I think the figure wise, the Death's Head, the original Death's Head actually ends up coming out a little bit better. And then we'd also, for those of you who collected the smaller scale Marvel Universe stuff, we've gotten the original Death's Head in the 4-inch form. So, but now we've got him in the 6-inch form. And of course, this figure also has crossover with Transformers. So this is not only going to be appealing to Marvel Legend fans, but also there's probably a number of Transformer fans who might be interested in getting this figure because, again, this guy over in the UK was in the Transformer comic. I believe it was the UK. So overall, very solid figure. Joints are solid. No complaints there. I'm not going to dissect the parts because I've lost track of that. One thing I will say is I wish you gotten 2 grip hands. You get a pair of closed-fisted hands, but this hand is open, which is kind of cool. But because he comes with the multiple weapons, it would have been nice. Like on the Marvel Universe one, he has 2 grip hands, so he can hold weapons in either hand. On this one, you can only hold the weapons in the left hand. So you get the mace, the spiked mace ball. You get the axe. And the weapons are kind of that bendy plastic. So, like you can see the spikes come out a little bit warped, but not a big deal. And then he's got this missile thing, which you did not get with the Marvel Universe version. So you got the axe and the mace with the Marvel Universe version, but you didn't get this thing. And then he's got the shield, little shield thing. So it's got a peg. So he can hold it in his hand or you can stick it in his back. But the coolest thing about this is it holds his weapons, so you just pop them in the back there. The Marvel Universe one did the same thing. However, I will tell you on the Marvel Universe one, if you looked at them wrong, they would fall out. So they never stayed very well attached on the Marvel Universe one, but they stay on there much better with the larger 6-inch figure. So then you just plug that on the back so it can hold all of his weapons. I like the texturing on the cape. You got the rips and everything. Oops. If you do lift up the cape with the shield, it will knock everything off. Um, but overall, and I like the detailing with the head sculpt. So he can look up pretty good. His jaw is not articulated, so you can't open his mouth. The fangs are done with a fairly soft plastic, so you want to make sure you don't bend them and get them warped. The horns are done with a harder plastic. But again, if you're a Death's Head fan, I think this is definitely a pretty cool figure. And then, like I said, my only real complaint is it would have been nice if they'd given us 2 grip hands as opposed to 2 closed-fisted hands. So that's your look at Death's Head, which again, if you weren't able to go to San Diego Comic-Con Monday, you should be able to pre-order it. Davey, Sock Rocker. We need more obscure Avengers like Gilgamesh and Stingray and Swordsman. So I believe, didn't they do Gilgamesh a while back? Or am I misremember? I think they did Gilgamesh like in the early days. I want to say it was like part of that Walmart exclusive wave. I misremember. I don't have it, but I want to say that they did it. Yep. Let's see. Do you think we'll see comic version? Yep. Sorry. Recycling questions. John, what would your dream Marvel Legend build a figure? Wave 7 figure. 7 wave figure. I don't know. I mean, if you're asking what mid-size character, because I actually prefer when they do them as deluxe figures. I've kind of grown, like, I found myself buying entire waves to be able to complete a Build-A-Figure more and more these days. So I actually prefer when they do the mid-size characters as like a deluxe. But as far as like a dream character, I don't know. I feel like they've done most of the ones that I generally would think of. I'm sure there are people who would love to see them finish out, the Warrior 3 for Asgard, which I don't know if any of those would fit Build-A-Figure or regular releases. I actually talked about that at the panel um, last week. They brought those up. I think it was Jesse Falcon who mentioned, like, it being a cool idea if they actually finished out the Asgardian guys. So, but I don't know. The Watcher. Oh, sorry, the Watcher came. But a Watcher. I mean, I have the Diamond Select Marvel Select Watcher figure, and we got the What If cartoon series Watcher. But I wouldn't mind a classic Watcher figure for Marvel Legends. Even though the Diamond Select toy one is not a bad figure, and does actually fit decently with Marvel Legends, I wouldn't mind seeing a Marvel Legend actual Watcher figure. Mephisto, maybe. Again, that one might be borderline. I don't know. Hopefully, Hasbro does more video game figures. Would love a symbiote Spider-Man from Spider-Man 2 PS5. I'm sure they will. They generally like to throw those out periodically. No idea. No idea on Dragon Man. I've given you my guess, $100, but that's just purely a guess. But I don't think we'll. I think the earliest we'll get a price on that would be PulseCon in September. So Judge Dreads is busy. What? You're too busy to watch my live stream? What's up with that? That's cool. Hopefully you'll watch it on the rewind. Hopefully you're busy in a good way, because sometimes you can be busy in a good way and sometimes you can be busy in a bad way. So hopefully you're busy in a good way. The whole thing messed up. The Dan Young tweet could be Daredevil figures going up Hell's Kitchen. I I mean, anything's possible, so I'm certainly not going to say no. But if we got Daredevil figures, I would be pretty surprised. Though again, if we are in fact talking about a new reveal coming next week, not just the pre-order, I have absolutely no idea. Of course, I didn't know the Green Goblin helmet and pumpkin bomb kind of. I wasn't expecting that either. So, um, who knows what it could be. Mr. Allmind hoping. Yeah, I am surprised they have not done Lady Deadpool, um, with Dogpool. If we get Lady Deadpool, but since we didn't get Dogpool with the Deadpool figure, we better get it with Lady Deadpool if they end up doing her. What's up, Darth Primus? Yeah, it was good to see you, man. Love your photography. Keep it up. CJ with Action Grip. Deathhead was also a part of Doctor Who. I did not know that. So yeah, I learned something. Of course, I've never been a huge Doctor Who fan, so I'm, other than being aware of Doctor Who. Beyond that, my expertise in Doctor Who is not that great. The Goblin announcement gives me hope for some more Rami stuff. Would love a battle damaged Toby. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting like a new Electro at some point, and maybe Sandman. So I doubt we've seen the last of No Way Home stuff. I'm not saying anytime soon, but I mean that's the great thing about Marvel Legends and a line that seems to have no end is they can we get a lot of repeat characters obviously, but they can also go back and do stuff, the obscure characters and stuff. ACBA saying another Dragon Man type figure is on deck and coming soon. Any guesses on the figure? So yes, when I talked to Hasbro, they suggested that there was a second figure, a mid-size figure like Dragon Man, in production coming soon. I would be surprised if it was something that they offered this year. Now they could show us like the prototype this year, but I talked to Dan Young. So one of the questions I asked Dan Young when I was talking to him about the whole, this whole new model that they're doing with the made to pre-order is how often, like how many times a year did he think they would do this? And he didn't have a definitive answer to give me, but from the impression I got was we're going to start off with this one, the Dragon Man, and see how it does. If it does really well, then we will probably see more than just one a year. And my feeling was, that we might end up seeing them do like two a year with this model. I mean, it could be even more, especially if it ends up being really, really popular. But but I'm thinking two a year is probably going to be kind of the standard with these made to pre-order things. So we're close enough to the end of the year this year that I feel like it's just going to be Dragon Man this year. But then starting early next year, we'll probably get another one, which is probably the second one that they have already started working on. And when they show that one, I don't know. It could be PulseCon. Some had suggested that they had it there at San Diego and were debating on whether to put it out for people to see. And then I guess they decided not to. I don't know. That was like rumor speculation going around various YouTubers and stuff. So I don't know if there's really any basis for that. But that some people were like, oh, yeah, I think they have a second one that they might be showing us this weekend. But then didn't. So I don't know, but definitely, I think there is another one that they're working on. I have no idea who it is. Um, the awesome android, and I don't know why, but just kind of goes along with Dragon Man, same size and everything, is something that came to my mind. But then I feel like we need like a wizard figure if we're gonna get characters like that. So I don't know. Mangog, maybe. Yeah, I mean, could be anything. A Coco, 2 years plus a HasLab, or is HasLab done? Never. I've learned never say never. So and specifically talking about Marvel Legends, because I definitely, HasLab's not done as far as GI Joe Classified, probably not done with Transformers and Star Wars either. But with Marvel, I think they've come to realize that there aren't that many super big items that they can do that's going to be have enough mass appeal to get funded. So I think that's why they're playing with this new made to pre-order with the mid-size stuff. Um, but what I don't know is if, say, they decide. I know they know there's some demand for like a Fing Fang Foom, because I talked to Dwight and Jesse Falcon in pretty detail about Fing Fang Foom at the Hasbro breakfast that they had at San Diego. So I know they know there's some demand for that character. And I wouldn't even be surprised if they haven't been working on a Fing Fang Foom in some way or form, at least in the planning stages for him. But what I don't know is, especially if this new made to pre order model is successful for them, if they decide to do a bigger character like a Fing Fang Foom, will they go back to the HasLab model for that, or will they just do it as a made to pre order? And so I don't know. I mean, to me, HasLab's just a name. It is essentially a HasLab when it comes to Hasbro is mostly just a crowd. It is just a made to pre order model. They throw in the stretch goals to try and entice more people. Um, they set it up like a Kickstarter, but to me it's not a true Kickstarter. It's really more of just a made to pre-order. So to me, there, other than a name, there isn't really a huge difference between how they're going to release the Dragon Man and how they've released previous HasLabs. It's just, you know, like we talked about on Wednesday. No stretch goals and no stated minimum number of needed to move forward with it. But everything else is pretty much going to work just like the HasLab did. It's going to be released exclusively on Pulse. You're going to have a window, and if you don't order it in that window, it's not going to be made available again. Um, and the figure probably won't ship out to people until, months of, if not a year later. So there, again, to me, the Dragon Man is almost a HasLab, other than name, and then those two minor differences. But if they do a larger, if they decide, well, if we do something larger, we're just going to call it a HasLab. If we stick with the mid-size stuff, we'll do it as this made to pre-order. Um, I don't know. There's nothing that really says that a HasLab has to be a big item. That's the expectation, but there isn't like some hard standing rule that says only a HasLab can only be a big giant item. And same thing with this made to pre-order. They're starting with a mid-size figure, but there's nothing that says they couldn't do a larger item with the same model. So I don't know. It's really all marketing, if you want to be honest about it. Martin, hey, I had a problem with, because the new Marvel Legends Warbird, the street date says Sunday. I look at, I'm sorry. I had a problem with, because the new Marvel Legends Warbird, the street date says Sunday. I look at the Target app when the SW. Not totally sure I understand your question, Martin, but I can tell you, my my Warbird that I pre-ordered on the second go around when it became available has shipped, so it should be here probably this week. I didn't look and see when it's supposed to arrive, but I did get a shipping notification from Target the other day that it has shipped. But I don't know if everybody's pre-ordered it. I mean, there were some people who, I know somebody who pre-ordered it in the original batch, and then they got a delay notice saying it wasn't going to be released until August 5th, but then they ended up getting it in the mail last week. So I don't know. It's weird. But hopefully, if you got it pre-ordered, Oh, and I will tell you on my Warbird, I also had to approve a delay. Sometimes they make you go in and approve when it's delayed. So I'd gotten a delay notice and then I went and approved it. But then, like I said, just the other day it went on and shipped anyway. So, but hopefully, if you pre-ordered it, you will get it, and maybe you'll get a notification that it's shipped, or maybe it'll just show up on your front door. I don't know. John Estrada, Ghost Rider's Engine of Vengeance wasn't that big, and see what happened. Well, I think Engine of Vengeance is a good example of. I mean, it was definitely. I mean, it's no smaller than like a GI Joe, his tank, really. So I don't think it was the size, but the Engine of Vengeance is a good example of how Marvel Legends, like especially when you're talking about vehicles, just doesn't have as much wide appeal because vehicles have never been a huge part of Marvel figures. You know, GI Joe, yes, vehicles were always as important to the line as the figures themselves, but Marvel was never that way. So yeah, there's some vehicles that some people always say they want, an X-Men Blackbird, things like that. But I just don't think there's as wide a much appeal for vehicles and stuff, or even bigger size figures when you start getting into more obscure characters. Like I would love to see a Celestial bigger than Galactus and the Sentinel back there. But I don't, as much as I would love to see that, I don't think it would have a wide enough appeal to get backed. So, and same thing with an X-Men Blackbird. I know there are people out there who would love to see an X-Men Blackbird, but when you talk about needing the numbers needed to back these things, I feel like it probably, because the price would be high, it takes up a lot of space. It's not a piece that you can really display figures with very well. You can set them, if you have your thing on the shelf, you can put some figures around it. Or if you hang it, you can maybe hang some flying characters flying around it. But it's not really a good piece for displaying a lot of figures on. So I feel like, your what's already a fairly small consumer base in the overall scheme of things starts to shrink more and more when you're talking about large size Marvel items. So, but the Ghost Rider was a good example of that. Ghost Rider has its fans, but then you break those fans down into fans who of Johnny Blaze, fans of Danny Ketch, fans, of the latest Ghost Rider with his car, and now his name has totally escaped my mind, but you know what I'm talking about. Which was never my Ghost Rider. I never really read the comics with that Ghost Rider. I know him better from Agents of Shield, the TV series, than I do from the comics because by the time he came around, I quit reading comics. Danny Ketch is my Ghost Rider. I have all those original Ghost Rider titles with him. Johnny Blaze was the original Ghost Rider, and he played a role in the '90s as well. So I'm familiar with Johnny Blaze. I like Johnny Blaze, but still, he's not my favorite Ghost Rider. So when they announced the new Ghost Rider with Bike, I got that in a second. If they had included that with the HasLab, even if the price had gone up, I would have probably backed it. But just the one Ghost Rider by himself with his car, I just wasn't interested enough in. And so that's kind of what you're talking about is I don't think, I know there were people who screamed that it wasn't worth the money and things like that, but I think at the end of the day, the biggest problem that Engines of Vengeance campaign had was there just wasn't enough people that interested in it willing to spend that money to get it. Frostum, Frost Radimus, that's a mouthful. Hey, do I think we will ever get Dan Stevens Legion figures from the series? Do you think we could get that Mephisto from the Engines of Vengeance failed Hasla? Uh, I would love to see that Mephisto. Um, I won't say it's impossible, but if we do, it would be some type of like Hasbro Pulse exclusive or something like that. I don't think we'll ever see Mephisto at general retail or even like online retail, general online retail. Um, I would love to get the Mephisto and that version of the Goblin Queen. The X-Men 97 version to me, I mean, very true to how she appears in the cartoon for the most part, but I would have, she doesn't, she looks different than how she appeared in the comics, and I would have loved to have gotten that version of Goblin Queen. But whether we actually get those or not, I think it wouldn't be easy for Hasbro to release those. So I won't say it's impossible, but I'm not holding my breath either. I mean, we are getting Blackheart. I don't know why Blackheart is really necessary any more acceptable than Mephisto, other than, technically Blackheart is the son of Mephisto, but I guess most people don't realize that. So I guess to most people, he just looks like, some demonized type character, but I don't know. But we're getting Blackheart, which of course was in the video games. Blackheart's in all the Marvel versus Capcom games and everything. So Blackheart is a much more standard character for whatever reason than Mephisto. But the Watcher. Hopefully they restock the Warbirds. This release was a train wreck. My stores usually always stock Target exclusives. I mean, it was just like it was the same thing with the Black Widow figure. Remember that one was hard to get. I did see that one once at Target last summer when I was in Florida, but I didn't get it. I ended up I was able to get that one online though, but I mean a lot of people had a lot hard time getting that Black Widow figure. So um, I won't say it's impossible. I might even could see at some point down the road, in a year or two, where it gets a release outside of Target. Um, but whether Target I mean they've restocked it twice. Whether they do it again, I don't know. Coco, Mephisto needs more pink in feet. Well, I will. I hate how Mephisto was drawn in the Daredevil comics when Blackheart first appeared, which was in the Daredevil comics. I hate how I forget the artist's name, but I hate how that artist drew Mephisto in those comics. I much more prefer the classic Mephisto um, over like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men crossover. You can see behind me where Mephisto plays a role in that. That that or is he in that one, or is that thinking of the other crossover they had? Same time? Yeah, I think he's. Oh, anyway, but I prefer the more classic look from Mephisto than like in that Daredevil comic. TJ, yeah, my only issue with Danny's bike is the eyes on the hood should be headlights. It's just open holes. I'm hoping a second party does something. I'm still wait. Mine finally came in stock at Big Bad Toy Store, so it's shipping to me now, but I've yet to get it in hand. But like I've seen it, like I saw it at Comic Con and stuff, and I've seen all the images and reviews and stuff. I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, there's always little things you can find about anything, but for the most part, I thought they did a fantastic job with that. Was it John Romita Jr. who drew him in the Daredevil? I don't know. I hate like the whole where like the things on the back of his head look like hair. I I just all right. Well, let's see what else we got. Do we have anything else we really want to cover today? I think that's pretty much it for Marvel that I wanted to go over today with you guys. I don't know if you guys have any other questions. It has been a busy, crazy, couple of weeks in San Diego. A lot of information to digest. I know. Um, Michael, do I have any information on the retro? I do not. I want to say, trying to think. No, I don't. I've not heard anything. I would. Target usually at least restocks things once, um, but I've not heard anything specific on that one. So sorry, I didn't get that one myself. But honestly, I was like, I'm good on Carnage, so I didn't even try and get that one. Daniel St. John. Do I think Jarvis and Rick Jones? I think they're. I mean, they are possible, but I mean, we've gotten figures like J. Jonah Jameson and other Aunt May, so I certainly think they're within the realm of possibility. But I could also, they're not going to be huge sellers. So, and I'm not. I'm trying to think which would sell better, Rick Jones or Jarvis. But I mean, Jarvis, for those who read Avengers, is pretty well known, but he's not as well known, like say, as Alfred, with Batman. So I don't know. And Rick Jones, I mean, Rick Jones is a very plain looking character, so I don't know. I certainly think it's possible, but it would be like a 2-pack. If they did those characters or a box set or something. That's how they would release them. So they'd make you buy figures that we've already gotten in order to get those guys if they ever did them. That is true. We got Mora, but she's been in the cartoons, and she's X-Men. So X-Men, I think, are always a little more popular than like Avengers in general. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, we've definitely gotten some just regular human characters. So I certainly wouldn't say it's impossible. Jeremy, do you think NECA could do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 2000? Well, I certainly think it's possible, but with Super 7 already doing them, I think they would wait until Super 7, you know, does theirs first. Now, NECA, I don't know if you caught the news out of Comic Con, but NECA announced that they are doing 2012 Turtle figures. So I think that's where NECA is going while Super 7 does the 2003 stuff. Playmates, but so 2012 seems to be where NECA is going right now. But certainly down the road, I think, we could see NECA do 2003 as well. Delon 45. I missed out on the Sentinels on Hasbro Pulse. Do you think they'll make more or give? You're talking about the 6-inch ones? Yes, I do think those will be made available again. I definitely think, and my guess is PulseCon, you probably will get another shot at them. So, um, but almost definitely those will be made available again. One last thing I thought we could talk about. So I watched last night the new Batman series on Amazon, cartoon series on Amazon, and I thought it was pretty good. I mean, definitely not as good as Batman the animated series, but I thought it was pretty good overall. Definitely, you know, some interesting takes on characters. It's definitely not just taking stuff from the comics and putting it up to cartoon form. But like for instance, Harley Quinn is very different in this new series, and I kind of like where they're going with that character. So um, I found that one to be interesting. The Penguin, which they made a woman. Um, I won't go too spoilers here, but Penguin is now a woman, which is kind of interesting. But the Penguin character itself, other than being a woman, seemed very similar to what we saw in the comics, but that one was kind of weird. But overall, I thought it was. I like the art style. Um, Character designs are based on very early versions of these characters, which I found to be interesting. Like Batman the Animated Series, which came out right after the '89 Batman movie, and if even the '89 Batman movie, when you look at like the settings of Gotham and stuff, it is very. It's not like that modern. You know, people in the '89 Batman movie dressed like they were in the '50s and stuff. So I felt like the Batman animated series kind of followed that same theme, but the characters were generally portrayed with more modern looks. Whereas in this series, once again, we have a setting, the city, the landscape is very 50s, 40s, 50s, but then so are the, character designs are based on, Detective Comics, first appearance Batman and things like that, Catwoman and stuff. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know if this series is actually supposed to take place in the 40s or 50s. Again, with Batman stuff, it's hard to tell because '89 Batman was supposed to be modern, but certainly a lot of stuff in that movie didn't appear to be super modern. But this one, I think it's supposed to be more actually taking place during those years, but they don't specifically say during the series, so it's hard to say. 4 episodes. Yeah, I watched. I started it last night, and I'm not going to go into any deep spoilers or anything, but I started it last night, and I ended up watching all 10 episodes. So it kind of took me in, and I ended up I started watching it in the evening and basically watched it until ended up finishing up around midnight last night. So, and I will say that there aren't some parts of it that kind of get a little boring or drag a little bit, but for the most part, it kept my attention for 10 episodes. So, um, I will say there's a character that they tease at the very end for next season that, based on the tease, is I'm like I don't know, but since it was just a minor tease, I'll wait until we see more next season for that one. But everything else I thought overall was decent. Like I said, not as good as Batman the Animated Series. Batman the Animated Series, I don't think there'll ever be anything when it comes to Batman as good as that. That had great animation for the time, um, great story writing, great voice acting. One thing I really liked, though, one of my biggest worries about this new series was, Kevin Conroy is very hard to beat, and so I was worried that I was just totally going to hate the voice of this new Batman, and it's certainly not Kevin Conroy, but the voice actor, and I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he does a very good job um, portraying Batman and Bruce Wayne in this new series. So that was actually something, again, going in I was very worried about, and I hadn't seen I hadn't watched any of the trailers or anything, so I really kind of went into the series pretty blind. Um, and I was very happy. Alfred too. I thought that did a good job with Alfred um, in the series. So John says, yeah, I mean, a lot of I've never seen a cartoon series with so many executive producers. Like the whole credits are executive producers, which I thought was kind of funny. But Darth Prime, I don't want to give away spoilers, but that is a theme which I thought was kind of weird that runs throughout the whole season one. So I won't give anything away there, but that that first episode's not the only time that comes up. Jeremy says, I think McFarlane will make figures based on Batman Cape Crusader like the Batman animated series figures they are doing. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up doing figures from the new cartoon. I don't know what style. Most of those Batman animated series figures that he does are just basically reissues of the ones DC collectibles did back in the day. We get a few new ones here and there, mostly Build-A-Figures. But I don't know if they would stick with that style or do a more DC Multiversus style if they end up doing figures from the new series. But especially if it becomes a hit, it's almost a given that, and we all know how McFarlane loves to do Batman anyway. So, yeah. So I think that's definitely a real possibility. I don't know. I've seen some mixed reactions, and there are definitely some things that I feel some people will just hate. Like, will it'll set off their woke meters. So, um, I'm still not sure exactly how well received the series will be overall. So I've seen, like I say, kind of mixed reactions. But for me personally, I thought it was decent storytelling for the most part. It kept me interested. So I definitely will be tuning in for a second season, assuming we get a second season, which my guess is we will. But John, yes, the if you've got that Detective Comics first appearance Batman, I mean that's basically what the design of this new Batman is based on. So you're 100% right that that figure could pass for Batman from this new show. Maybe do the ears a little bit bigger, but yes, very similar look. uh, how woke are we talking with some characters? If that's something that bothers you a whole lot, if you're very woke sensitive, then there are probably some things there that you're not going to like. But like for instance, the Penguin character, um, I'm sure is going to set some people off. But nothing bothered me for the most part, like I said, because I think they made them interesting. Again, a lot of the characters are very different than how they were originally portrayed in the comics. If it has to be an exact interpretation of from the comics, then you're probably not going to like this series. Um, but but it doesn't bother me as long as they do it, write it well and stuff when they change things like that up like that a bit. So, all right, well, we are at our hour, so I think we are going to call it a day. Again, next week we'll be back to normal schedule. So Monday will be another live stream video at 3. Same with Wednesday, but then on next Friday will be a pre-recorded video. So we'll get back to normal. As I said on Wednesday, I feel like things are going to slow a little bit in the month of August as companies kind of get back from Comic Con and then start preparing for the winter stuff. But of course, like I say, we might get, a week, 2 weeks out. We already had a new Marvel Legend reveal this week with the Goblin stuff, and we might be getting another one next week. So who knows? Maybe they'll keep just going full force. But and pre-orders, obviously, like I say, we're getting Marvel Legend pre-orders at least once a week through August and probably through September, probably taking us into PulseCon. So maybe things aren't going to slow down. I don't know, but yeah, be back next week as always, guys. Thank you for tuning in, listening to me ramble. Stay safe out there, and until next time, guys, I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching today's video. Now, if you're new to the channel, please think about hitting that subscribe button. Also hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. For all the latest action figure news, be sure to head over to ToyNewsEye.com, MarvelousNews.com, JediInsider.com, and tformers.com. And remember, action figures are great,